In the Hyundai Texans radio studio for the first time in history, it's Braxton Berrios.
First time in history.
Yeah, first time.
It is true. It's not a little exaggeration, but it is true.
It's true. It's true. You're here now, and you're a Houston Texan. And it's funny because I was looking at your career path, and AFC East, I always say division teams tend to sign players from within the division, right?
You're very familiar.
Yeah, so now you are outside of the division in the AFC South where you belong. How's it been so far for you, Braxton?
It's been awesome. This facility, this coaching staff, the team, it's been a very easy transition, knowing a decent amount of guys before getting here. And then obviously once OTA started, seeing everybody and getting to know the rest of the crew. Have a tremendous group in here.
Did you have any experience in Houston, Braxton? Anybody from Houston, your family, anybody you knew? Why Houston?
I have family outside of Dallas.
Okay.
So my dad, stepmom, and my brothers are outside of Dallas. The only time I'd visited Houston before this was when the Miami Hurricanes came here 2 years ago for the Final Four.
Oh,
played inside NRG.
Yeah,
so
right.
we came for a day. Didn't go well. Got
Mark knows.
But they made it.
Stomped. But they made it, so that was fun. And then I guess to answer the second question, why not? I mean, obviously it's a very incredible, capable team. With a great coaching staff, and again, I think the ceiling's the limit here.
So what was it like when you first got into the league versus now? How has your game evolved? What do you bring to the table now in 2025? Because you were picked up by the Patriots in 2018.
Yep. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Going into year 8.
Yeah.
They say it flies. It really does fly.
Yeah.
I honestly, it's a different world going into year 8 than it was going into rookie year. From a development, from size, speed, strength, even from the wealth of football IQ and knowledge that you accumulate, pre-snap, post-snap. The main thing about the game in the NFL is it goes faster, right? Everybody's fast, everybody's big, everybody's strong, and so the margin for error just it shrinks to so thin. And so I think really the football knowledge and the recognition of coverage and where the soft spot is, and to see what the quarterback is seeing and kind of feel what he's feeling, speed it up if they're rushing, if they're blitzing, if it's an 8-man drop, okay, we have time, depth, and spacing. It's really those things that have really evolved in those years.
Braxton, one of the things that we've talked about a lot is outside receiver versus inside receiver. Outside receiver, obviously you read coverage, you got to do those things, but inside there's reading coverage, but there's managing all the chaos and all the trash and everything that's in there. Like, that's a big, huge part of playing when you're playing on the inside. How difficult is it to kind of manage all that, expecting, well, I think the linebacker is going to move here, so I should go there, but then you've got a defensive tackle that might drop or whatever. How tough is it to actually kind of manage all that chaos on the inside?
No, it's a lot, and it takes a lot of repetitions. And even when you've taken thousands of repetitions, you're not always right. You might have the right cues and the right keys, and then all of a sudden they did something different. And you go to the sideline and said, hey, they did something that we did not expect. Normally when they're in that look, they roll to this, and they didn't. And it's really like it's all in preparation, really. Compartmentalizing. Okay, it's too high. Who am I worried about? It's one high. Okay, there's no safety. What's going on? Right. So it's like really like breaking it down step by step to where like when the ball snaps, you're expecting one of two things, right? Instead of like trying to read 12 things. Exactly. And that's all it is. And that all is preparation and experience of figuring out, okay, this is telling me that I need to do this and just going with it.
Yeah.
I got to imagine you're a fan of the kickoff rule, the dynamic kickoff that was instituted in 2024. And this year, touchback to the 35-yard line. You got to be a fan of this.
I'm a big fan of this. I was a fan last year. Obviously, I don't think it spiked the numbers that they wanted to as far as returns go.
Right.
And so now, it's almost a punishment to the kickoff team to kick it into the end zone. You give it to the other team at the 35-yard line. And the scoring statistics, from the 25 2 years ago, if you start on the 25 versus when you start on the 35, or it's a big difference.
Yes.
So I'm very excited, and really at this point in time, I feel like there's going to be a return every single time, unless it's a weird game plan thing. But it should be fun. We're going to get a lot of ops.
Braxton, kickoff returns or punt returns? Which one's scarier?
Punt return by far.
Yeah,
by far. It's just different. Like, I think it goes with time, right?
Yeah.
Kickoff return, you have some time,
have
right?
some
So like
time,
worst case scenario, you have a little time to
Right.
figure some things out.
Right.
Punt return, you don't. It's bang bang pretty much always.
Right.
So I'd say punt return is definitely the scarier and probably harder of the two.
I got knocked out one time on a punt return. I was like, that's the scariest thing I've ever done. I'm never doing this again. And I never did.
You got video?
Good question.
It's a long time ago, Braxton. They didn't have
Was
video.
there video?
I think it was
He's got
VCR
film.
tape.
Film.
Yeah.
Film.
16
Yeah,
roll of
millimeters.
tape.
That long ago.
How hard is it to make the decision? Am I going to fair catch this thing or not? Split second.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's, balls kicked, you track it, right?
Right.
You figure out which way it's going for a second, and then you take a quick look at the gunners, see what happened. And again, if it's single, if it's vice, all that comes into play, which hash they're on, and then the direction of the punt, obviously. And so you check it, I go get under it, check it one more time, and then I'll check the gunners one more time. So 2 to 3, depending on the flight of the ball, and you got to be confident. And that's the biggest thing, making a decision, being decisive about it and going with it is the biggest thing, because as long as you're decisive, you're calm in your mind, calm in your feet, this is what I'm doing.
Right.
I think a lot of people get in trouble when it's like, oh, here we go. And you have so many thoughts and again, small bites, right? Make a decision, live with it.
Yeah, no doubt. Frank Ross, special teams coordinator. How much did you know of Frank before you got here? What have been your thoughts about Frank and kind of how he goes about doing his business? Because that's a pretty high energy guy.
It is. A lot of the special teams coaches,
They're kind of like that.
They are.
Yeah.
It's like they're cut from the same cloth. But we've played against each other a few different times, Coach Ross, and I was very excited getting here with him. I think he's a great mind in special teams. He knows what he's doing. And the guys in there really respect him and want to play for him, and that's that's a big thing. The effort and the want to on special teams is about 80% of it.
Braxton, I don't know how familiar you are with the inner workings of social media, but
Not very.
You've been on a few
very.
videos here and there from time to time. I don't know. We were told this, so
Yeah, we don't know.
but that has to be part of your life as well. Small part, but
Small
it's a
part.
part of your life, right? That,
For sure.
That you've been viral in some cases, and you're also in the NFL, and it's got to be kind of strange, but wonderful at the same time.
Yeah, it's you got to compartmentalize in a way, right? And it's it's one of those things that now you just kind of have to take it in stride.
Right.
My day job is my day job. I do what I love to do, and I'll do it until I can't anymore, because this is the one thing that made me happy as a kid, right? And the one goal I had was to play in the NFL. But again, a lot of other things come with that, and as life goes on, things change, and that's one of the big things that's changed over the last few years. And again, nothing distracts me from my day job. Nothing gets in the way of that. That's always first, and then what you do in your free time is what you do in your free time.
So looking back, you said it's year 8, year 9.
Year 8.
Year 8. Go all the way back to your rookie year. Year 8, Braxton Berrios can sit down with rookie year Braxton Berrios. What one piece of advice would you give him?
Wow, that's a good one. I would just say, honestly, there's so many things that go on just throughout an NFL season. I'd say no matter what, keep your head down and keep doing what you do. Yeah. Keep doing what got you here.
Yeah.
Because, there's 1,000 things, social media, like players up, down, cut, release, traded, there's so much that goes on in the business of football.
Right.
And it's don't forget what got you here.
Yep.
And that would be the piece of advice.
Good.
When you were with the Patriots, you're around a quarterback. I don't know if you recall Tom Brady at all, but you were around Tom Brady. What kind of influence, if any, he must have had something on you, on the whole team, but just being around his level of professionalism.
Yep.
We were talking about possible distractions or whatever, but just being around Tom.
Yeah. I say that year, I really think I got a PhD in football. Just, watching him. Of course, Gronk was there. Edelman was there. You had Josh McDaniels. You have obviously Bill Belichick.
Right.
I think greatest coach of all
Nick
time.
Caserio in the building.
Nick Caserio was in the
What
building
about
as well.
Nick Caley? Was Nick Caley in the building?
Nick Caley was in the Nick Caley. Pop.
Yeah.
Pop was in there. Jerry. And you have Matthew Slater. You have true Hall of Famers there. So to sit back and be a sponge and soak it all up and to see what professionalism really looks like from a rookie year was, I think, the greatest start I could have had. And I sat there in meetings, obviously, took as many notes as I possibly can, which I still have that notebook, obviously.
Right.
And he would stop and say, "Hey guys, this is what I'm saying and this is what I'm thinking." So earlier when I talked about like seeing what the QB sees and, you know, zone is depth and spacing and man is beat your man and win, like that was all from rookie year. Like that was all from that study and how he saw it. And like now I'm like, hey, if I can see what the quarterback sees and I know his problems and I can help solve those, that makes me a lot more valuable to him.
Yeah. Very good stuff. Braxton, thanks a lot for joining us. Good luck.
Thank you guys.